Hello and welcome. This is Michelle with PaperStampInk. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today, where I'm going to share with you the 5 cards I made so far from the new Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard kit. If you don't have this kit, you'll hopefully pick up some tips and techniques that you can use on the products that you already have in your craft room. Now, if you like paper crafting tutorials and tips and techniques, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you get notifications of future videos. I'm going to go through an unboxing. If you want to skip that part, just jump right to the 3-minute mark and that'll get you to the beginning of the card making. So this kit comes with this handy pouch that you get to keep, and I always love more storage items, right? We can always have more of those, never enough. So I get 6 pieces of colored cardstock with this month's kit. Now it's always a surprise, you don't know what you're going to get, but this cardstock so far when I've got it, it always has one side that's more textured and one that's smooth. So I love that because it can get me some of that added dimension from my cardstock without having to run through an embossing folder. Get 4 envelopes. I'm going to make way more cards than that, so I'm going to have to grab some from my stash, and then you get a collectible pin every month. Now this little card has all of the colors on the back for your reference, as well as what's included in the kit, and when you're done, put that on a card front, you've got another card ready to go. For the embellishments, I have some enamel dots in a rainbow of colors, and I love that there is a variety of sizes in them as well. So that gives you a lot more interest when you're using those for your embellishments. And then we have this great ribbon with polka dots. We've got some gorgeous sequins, and oh my gosh, there's so many colors in there. I just love that. It's so bright. And this great stamp set that's all about rainbows and storms and sunny days, and I just think it's going to be a very handy one to have, and I love having the rainbow, and that little sun is perfect size for so many of my cards. Then I get the stencil that I'm going to get to keep, of course, as well, and that's got the clouds on it, and 2 die sets in this month's kit. Now I don't have a rainbow die set, so I'm pretty excited to get this one, and I like the sun that has the 2 pieces, so the outer and inside can be different colors, and of course clouds are always great to have. And then we have this cute little kite with the outer side and then the 4 different inside pieces. So you can get some variation and some chipboard pieces this month as well. So that's exciting to have. Those will make for some quick cards. And my favorite part, if you know me, I love designer series paper, I love pattern paper. I'm going to just do a quick flip through of this, and you'll see that each side has a pattern side or a picture kind of side, and then the back side is more of a tone on tone. These make it very easy to do layering and mix and match your cards and your patterns. So I think those are a lot of fun, and I'm going to be making a lot more cards after I'm done with these 5 cards I'm showing you here, because there's so much, a full paper pad in here. Let's jump to the first card, and this is going to be so quick and simple because I'm using one of those great pictures on the cardstock or the pattern paper. It's got that rainbow. I did cut it down to 5.5 by 5.5, and the reason I did that is so I can take my 8.5 by 11, cut it down to 5.5 by 11, fold it in the middle, and I get one piece out of one piece of my regular paper. I don't have to go into my 12 by 12 stash. So put a little chipboard piece on in some of those enamel dots, and that one's ready to go. Now we're going to jump into using the dies, and I have done all the die cutting ahead of time just to keep this video tutorial down to a little bit better length for you. That's also the reason I speed up my videos and do voiceovers most of the time if they're getting longer. Got a little bit of ink on my fingers. Make sure you're careful with that. I got a little bit on that sun, but hey, we're gonna fix that. And I did some extra creasing with my bone folder that I picked up. I love that bone folder, so I'm gonna link that down below for you as well in case you're looking for a good one. And I've put 2 different pieces of the pattern paper onto the kite, and I actually went ahead and made a second one as long as I was doing that, since they had them all cut out. So make a duplicate card when I'm done here. And then I've got my little bow and the tail of the kite, and just put a little bit of glue on there to hold that in. So for the sun, I cut it out of 2 different colors of the cardstock to get some variation there. And then I'm going to take my clouds and actually cut them down so that they're going off of the edge of the panel. I think it adds a lot more interest. You're not trying to crowd everything to the inside of your card to get it to fit on. So if you don't do that already, think about that when you're when you've got some of these images that it doesn't make, you know, the image go away, you know, you still know it's a cloud if it's partly hanging off of there. Now, if you've got something like an animal image, you probably don't want to cut half of it off. It might lose what you're trying to share. So I did a little banner or a fishtail end on that sentiment strip after I trimmed it down with my scissors. And I'm just going to attach that to the side there. And we've got our second card done. And I am, well, not quite done. I'm going to put some Wink Estella and we're going to add some sequins. But you could leave it right there and have it beautiful. And I apologize for this card getting off to the side a little bit. Something happened when I was doing my video and I had my ratio off. So when I loaded it in, it cropped it down on the sides. Unfortunately, most of that still was showing in the card design process. So you're able to see that at the very end here, though it did kind of sneak off of the side and some of that got cropped out. But I do have images of the cards at the very end as well. So if you feel like you're missing part of it, take a look there and you'll get to see the completed card. But I think you can see most of it here and get the idea. Just a few little sequins to add some little sparkle, right? So now I'm bringing in these dies from Pink and Main, and these were not included in the kit, but I would recommend these if you do not have a set of circle dies in your stash, because there's tons of sizes on there and they're just very small variations, which I love in the size. So you can get some very thin mats or you can go bigger. So they're very large circles. So sometimes the sets that I've had before, I have some stitched circles, which I love, but the biggest one is I believe like 2.5 inches. So it's not very big. And I love to actually put some of my circle off to the side and cut them off just like I did those clouds in the earlier one. So that's why I'm going to stamp these colors off to the side with the rainbow. And for my colors, I used Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, and Balmy Blue. Those are Stampin' Up! Inks, and I thought those colors matched up very well with this gorgeous plaid paper. That paper is cut down to 4 by 5.25. And then I just put a couple of little strips of the blue cardstock to break that pattern up a little bit and add some interest. I'm going to stamp my sentiment using my pumpkin pie on the bottom of that circle, and then I'm going to mat it onto the larger circle before I cut this. It just works better that I make sure I get my lines lined up properly, if that makes sense. That's a lot of words. So lines lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down on my card base, the panel, and then put my partial circle off to the left-hand side. And then I have all these fun little circles that I die cut from some of the pattern paper using the tone-on-tone side, so that it's not competing too much with that plaid background. That's why I love having those tone-on-tone, or sometimes they're not really tone-on-tone. Sometimes they're like a white with the color, but it reads not so busy. And I am going to pop a little bit of foam tape on one half of that circle so that it is more flat across, since I'm putting part of it on that double matted focal image. And then I'm just playing around with which colors I'm going to put where, and circles are always so much fun, and they're just like a happy thing. So I love to add circles, polka dots, enamel dots, whatever it is on my cards. So on this card, I'm just going to stretch those across my card, and I decided after I was already kind of partway through through my prep process that I wanted to actually raise that up onto a panel with some foam tape. So I brought in another piece of paper to put my panel on, and I'm adding in my pattern paper, and the panel was just a little bit off, so I trimmed it down. And then I'm going to bring that fun polka dot color in. So I've got the blue on the top and the green on the bottom, and this great green and blue combination ribbon. It wasn't quite as tight as I wanted it to be, so pulled that and kind of make it a little bit tighter. I do use score tape to adhere my ribbons to the back of my panels. I just find that works much better for me. And the other reason that I did want to pop this up on foam tape as well is because I was doing that ribbon and I wanted to be able to wrap it around. And sometimes if your ribbon's not really thin, you're going to have some bumps there. So I find that I generally do like to raise those up. Now these chipboard pieces do have stickers on the back, but when I took the backing off, I ripped the whole sticky part off, so I had to use a little bit of adhesive on there. And then I'm going to bring in these gorgeous enamel dots in the blue to bring some of that blue from the top down into the bottom portion of this card. We'll throw some of that foam tape on the back, and this stuff is a lifesaver. I'm actually getting close to needing to order some more there. This roll lasts a long time. I do have those linked in my store of favorite items. And just, you know, when I do have links down there, I am an affiliate for a few programs. And when you place an order through those, it's no additional cost to you, but it does help me to have money to purchase more supplies and share tutorials with you guys. So these dies I'm using are Slimline Dies, and those are from Cat Scrappiness. And I'm sorry, I went through really fast on that, but there is a scalloped edge, and then on the inside piece there is a stitched edging on there as well. So I'm going to save that inside piece to use on another card for sure. And Slimline cards are just kind of the fun thing, the not really new because they've been around, but coming back around. And I do love how much more space it gives you to put your images, to make a scene on a card. So I think I'm going to probably be doing a few more of those. They are new to me. When I was making card making or doing card making in the past, I just never really got into the Slimline cards. And so now I'm really enjoying that process. So I am adhering these rainbow pieces actually to the back of that frame, and I set that aside to dry, that glue, and put a little block on there. Then I'm going to bring in some Peacock Feather Distress Oxide and my great pink and Maine blending brush. And this is so comfortable to hold, and if you haven't used these, they do stain, but you just rub them off with one of their scrubbing cloths and you're not going to have that color coming through. So you can switch from one color family to another color family with this. You don't have to have all of those different foam pieces out all the time. So that's great. So just put that cloud stencil down and just wanted to get a hint of the clouds in the background. I wasn't worried about them being completely covered or the same, even the same amount. So I snipped off that little bit of the rainbow that was hanging off the edge, put in a thin bead of glue along there and an acetate piece on the back because we're going to make a full panel shaker card with this. So I'm just lining that up and kind of looking at how far that's going to come in, because when I adhere my pieces to that base of the card, I want to make sure that they're not going to be obstructed by the frame. So I'm putting the sun in, and I just am using the reverse pieces from what I used on that kite card. And the kite card, I used the orange in the middle and the yellow on the outside. And so I had those extra pieces and flip-flop the colors. Then we're going to put a little cloud on the outside. I was kind of playing around with where I wanted that and decided I liked it up a little bit higher because I want to put my sentiment down across the bottom there. And these thin foam strips are so handy for things like this with these shaker cards, especially, as well as thinner sentiment strips. So definitely something you want to have in your craft room. And we're going to add some of these sequins to the base of the card. I like to do this with my shakers if they've got a large area, and definitely with full panel shaker cards. The reason I like to do that is it makes sure that I have some sequins always visible on my card. They're not all falling to the bottom. So generally, not only will I have those sequins showing, but some of the others will catch on it as well. So you're still going to have all that pretty sparkle and shine, even if all of your sequins have fallen down to the bottom of your card. So we're going to also keep some of those from falling to the bottom by putting some of those foam strips there and making sure that they don't go and hide behind my rainbow and my cloud. And then we're going to go ahead and put a bunch of those up at the top. I like to be pretty generous with my sequins on my shaker cards. You know, they're pretty economical, so don't get stingy with them. You want to be able to still see those. Now I did start to put those sequins on the wrong side, so always double check, and that's what I did. I brought my cover piece in and looked, and I was like, oh, nope, they need to go over on the left-hand side. So do that before you get everything glued down. Now I am just going to take these strips off and place this right on my card base, but if you're afraid you can't get that on straight, because you're not going to be able to move it once you get that foam on there, you can always put a little bit of liquid glue on there, and it gives you some time to shift around. So that is just so much fun. I love all that sparkle in there. You know, this is one of those cards that if you get this card from me, you know that I really like you. It's one of those that are a little bit harder to give away. You just kind of like to look at and go, that's so pretty. So, anybody else have that, or is it just me? Let me know in the comments if you sometimes have a card you just don't want to get rid of. It's okay to be proud of your cards. That's great. You know, you've put time and effort into it. So I'm bringing in my sentiment that says, we must endure the storm to enjoy the rainbow. And I just wanted to put that across the panel. So cut the length off, and then I'm adding some sequins where that was a little bare, and also add some more of that sparkle on the outside of our card. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and until we meet again, make sure you grab your paper, stamp, and ink and do something creative. And don't forget to check out the Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard kits. Have a great day.